Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? It is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, back for day five of 31 Days of Halloween. So, how is everyone? Morning time today. I'm going to turn you guys around. We will get started and we will chat as we go. So, good morning, everyone. I had this, I guess, somewhat Victorian box. It's a heart. Okay, we are upcycling this box for Halloween. A heart may not be, well, it could be, but a heart may not be, the best shape. But we're just doing an upcycle. I have these really cool napkins. There's a pack of 24 Halloween napkins from the dollar and a quarter tray. And I had this cute Victorian box. I collect these boxes. This is what the pattern looked like. I collect these boxes. If you notice, sometimes in the back of me in my art room, I have multiple supplies, different craft supplies in boxes, and they're stacked up behind me on my work table. Anyway, this one, you don't have to base coat it. Depending on your box, you don't have to base coat it. I base coated it because when you take the plies apart, when you take the sheets apart from the napkins are very translucent. And I wanted to be able to really see this design without the box and all these pink florals coming through. So that was the first thing. So anyway, I have my Mod Podge. I have a little bit of water and let me see, a tiny brush. I have a brush for my Mod Podge. Then I have the napkin that I'm going to use for the main picture for the top of my box. And then I have these are craft papers I made with my jelly pad. There's going to be a video as part of 31 Days of Halloween on how to make these papers. But if you grab the supply list and the download, I have created some simple papers for you to just print out if you like and use them for your upcycle. If you want, it's up to you. Otherwise, you can use tissue paper, craft paper, papers you made, napkins, pretty much material, lace, ribbon, whatever you want on here that you have laying around in your stash that you want to use. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my napkin, and sometimes napkins are 2 or 3 ply. This one actually says 2 ply, and because I'm reading it and I know it's 2 ply, so I only have to pull the one part away from the other part. And that was fairly easy. Sometimes napkins are really pressed together. I'm going to save this because I might make this into some kind of tissue paper, print it up like I did with this. We'll see. So I'm not going to throw this away. You can, up to you. Okay, then I'm going to lay this out because I want to see most of it and see where it'll work the best. So I'm just going to now cut this one square from my napkin because that's all we're going to use right now. I might use the rest for the other sides, but for now, that's it. I'm going to line it up. Let's have that spider right there. Let's see if I'm going to be able to do that. Get that spider right there in the middle. And then we'll worry about those spaces later. Okay, so I'm going to put out a little bit of my Mod Podge. And you can use any kind of varnish for this that you like. I know there's a gilden and a golden, and some people water down Elmer's glue, and it's all just up to you. So I have my brush. I'm going to dip in a little bit of my Mod Podge, and I'm just going to put in some here. Now my box, I base coated white. You don't have to. It's up to you. And I'm going to take my napkin. I'm going to see if I can get my spider where I wanted it and make sure he's right in the middle there. And then I just flap this side down. But I didn't put Mod Podge all over the whole thing. I just wanted to have a little bit. And now I'm going to do it as I go. You want a very light coat because these napkins are thin. I'm pressing down gently. We're going to try and not have bubbles or wrinkles, but you know what? If we do, so be it. It's an upcycled box. and we're not going to get worried about that. I'm just tapping as I go. And then I'm going to put the last bit of here and then fold over. Okay, napkins are a little thinner. Okay, so let me put out some more. I'm going to get my Mod Podge now, and I'm going to gently go over the top, working out towards the edges to get rid of any bumps or wrinkles. I'm not really that concerned with wrinkles in this one because it's Halloween. It's going to add to the effect. But I do want to still work from the inside out. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot? We need a little bit of a sander. I got to get my sanding block. Got my spider right where I wanted it. And I'm just putting on a top coat. You want to be very gentle with this. This is a really soft brush. It's a paint brush, but now I only use it for my decoupage. And you want to be really gentle and have a soft brush because you don't want to rip your tissue paper. Okay? So I'm just going to leave that now to dry, and I'm going to go to my box. So we can use more napkin, which I might do, or we can use some of my papers here. And there's two ways of doing this, all right? You can, I like this section right here. You can rip your paper. I like ripping it. Usually I won't use scissors on this kind of paper. I want to rip it and tear it. I don't want the edges to be all nice and neat. Okay. And I'm just going to start lining these up. I'm going to do the same thing. Put a little bit on there. Now this paper is a little thicker. But you still should be a little bit gentle with it. And I'm just adding in and doing a section at a time as I go around. Like with acrylic painting, decoupage and collage is a layering effect. And you can keep layering and putting on as many layers as you want. So now I'm going to go over the top again. Make sure all my edges are down. Sometimes when we're dealing with heavier paper, we want to use a heavier or a thicker Mod Podge. And I'm using Mod Podge in the generic sense, like Kleenex. I'm actually using Mod Podge, but there are a lot of varnishes that you can use for this. And then sometimes you want to use something just a little bit heavier bodied. Another way you can rip your paper is to get a little cup with water and a wet brush and wet your paper. Just come in here, almost paint around the design you want with the brush, and then come back and it'll rip a little bit easier and have a nice edge there. See how nice that just is coming out? It's wet. I used my brush and I can just come in here and tear it. Okay? So it's up to you what you want to do. I'm going to put that piece right there. And we're just going to keep layering and adding. You can see how some of my box here is showing. We can fix that or we can leave it because when we put our top on, it's not going to matter. You're not going to see it, but I could come back in with some ink. I'm going to rip this. I could come back in with some paint. I can come back in with a paint pen. I can come back in with other papers and paint over that. So whatever I want to do. down that end. And look how cool this is already looking. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going all around. Get me some water here. Oh, wrong way. Huh. And like with anything else, you can make this as full or as layered or as involved or as detailed as you want. There's no rules when it comes to art and creating. The only rules there are, well, there is rules. Sometimes you have to be careful about what you mix and match, but really there's no rules there either. If you like it, I love it. It's all good. Okay, ripping out this section here. And even this little piece ripped, but I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to Mod Podge it down. Just be careful where you stick your box because it's sticky, and now I put it on the ground. All right, let me see. Let's just rip this bottom part off a little bit. It's a little white, and I want to get rid of that. Okay, scraps. I'm going to come back up to my project. Start layering in a little paint here. A little Mod Podge. Okay. And we're just going to keep going. So how are you guys today? Let me see. I got to put on my glasses. Okay. And then I'm just going to, from the inside out, put down my edges using my brush. Overlap this edge on my corner here. And then go over the whole thing. Okay. I'm going to go back to the one I had and pick another one of these pieces. This time I'm just ripping it and not using the water. Again, you do you. I like that nice uneven edge there. I think we'll go this way with that. So my Mod Podge. Line these up here. Put down this little section. Okay. And then start laying it down as I go. I'm going to show you how we're going to fix all these flaps that are everywhere. I'm going to get my sanding block. I'm going to show you how we're going to take off those edges. So I love, let's pick this up. You couldn't pick up a napkin, but you can pick up this paper. This paper is much stronger than a napkin, and I was able to pull it up and reposition it. You couldn't do that with a napkin. It would just tear. But these papers and craft papers and stuff, if you print it out and you're using regular copy paper, they're a little bit stronger. I like this edge, but in order to finish off my box, I'm going to have to put a piece back there. All right, so what should we put? What should we put? What should we put? These papers are all Halloween colors. I made them on my jelly plate print. There is a video that is coming up on the 31 days of how to make these papers if you have a jelly plate. All right, so now I'm putting a little bit there. I'm going to layer this there. And we're just going to close up this gap. Now this with the curve and stuff, I might, because this is thicker paper and because it's a curve and I want to get it in this corner, I'm just using the back of this pen. I could have used a paintbrush and I'm just pressing down. Again, you could not do this with a napkin, but when you're using craft paper, scrapbook paper, you can do this because the paper is much more thick and easy to manipulate. I want to get a nice crease in there, and then I'm going to come back and put these down, because if I get this crease in there with that pen or burnisher like we use for our vinyl designs, then it won't lift up and I can come back in here and do my top coat. Okay, so I've pretty much done the whole, around the whole box here. But now I want to come back, I want to add some stuff to it. I'm going to add some stuff to it. So where is my napkin? Here it is. Okay. I'm going to open up my napkin. I'm going to cut it into the patterns, because this is, it is 4 squares of the same pattern. Napkins, sometimes napkins are 4 squares of the same pattern. Sometimes they just have a main square pattern, and then the rest of the other 3 squares will be like complementary. But these have all 4 squares on them. And I'm going to, where's my little brush? Here's my little brush. Here's my water. I like this part. You know, I like this part with the spider and the spider web. And I'm using my water. I'm also going to come around the edge here so I can tear it. Okay. And I'm going to gently rip my napkin where I put the water here. Really, we don't have to be that gentle. It was a pack of, I think, what, 24? How many napkins were in this pack? 24 napkins for $1.25. I think if I mess one up, it'll be okay. But you never know. You know, us crafters, we're always hoarding our supplies and whatnot, right? And I don't want this straight edge here, so I wet it. And now I'm just coming in here, and I'm just ripping off this edge. I could wet this one again. I'm just ripping it off because I want my edge, let me get rid of these before they get stuck in something, to be kind of random like that and not flat. Okay? And you just have to figure out where you want this. I think I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to get my Mod Podge. Lay down my spider. And then continue. Oops. Okay. Again, I'm going to come over it with this nice soft brush, going from the inside out. And put that on in that hole. All right. Now I think I'm going to come over, get my brush with water again. Maybe I'll just cut out this one candle on the end here. And you can use scissors for this. You can use a craft knife. You can just rip it. Up to you. I have put in a supply list and some craft papers I came up with, if you just wanted to print those out and use those. They're Halloween colors, and they're just some simple patterns that you can cut up and use however you like. Gently, 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 and then working my way from the outside in. I'm going to show you how we're going to get rid of those edges in a minute. Okay. It's still a little damp. What else we got? What else we got on here? And a little bit of this, you know, a little bit of these designs go a really long way. You could keep using, if I wanted to, I could use these little trims here. Here's another one. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to do that, but I'm just letting you know what you can do. This one down here, I'm going to cut out by itself. We'll use this somewhere because overall, this section right here is way too big. So I can use that for something. I can use this bottom trim for something. And then I can use this part somewhere. Okay. Let's get rid of this one. It's a little tall, so I'm going to take out this one book down here. Okay, I'm going to put this one in the back. Get my Mod Podge. Lay it down. I like using this hinge method. It gives you a little bit more time to make sure things are placed where you want them to be. And then again, working from the inside out. I'm just going to press this down. What a transformation, right? Considering this is how we started, and now this is how we're ending up. How cool is that? Then I have this front, and that's going to be like a focal point. Let's see what we can use for that. Maybe I'll get one of my papers. Oh, we could put our Eye of Newt right there. Just be careful when you're Mod Podging and you're doing it in layers. Your Mod Podge can become really, really wet underneath and not dry. Probably if I was not doing this on a video, I would maybe dry in between. I'm definitely going to dry before I come to it with my paint and fill in all these nooks and crannies where I want to fix the edges. Okay. So I think that part is good. 1 second, I'm going to get my sanding block. So I have a couple little sanding blocks here. You can use an emery board. You can use a finger sander. And I'm just going to come in here and pulling down, and it's just ripping off the paper. See that? Giving it a nice rough edge, but it's not ripping it off the front. And I'm just going around, holding it, pulling down, and then getting the paper off. I'll probably come around with a little bit of Mod Podge, and then we'll add some to the edges of our box lid here. You want to be careful not to pull on it because you will rip it. You don't want to rip it on the face, you just want to rip it off the sides. If I cared, we could keep these and use them for something else. But like I said, this is a 24 pack. I don't think we need to worry about saving every little bit. Look how cool that is. Okay, so now we're going to come back and see what we're going to do with our edges. I'm just going to start layering in all over all this random edge piece. Okay, got some there. That was one of the books. Got some, oh, this was the top of the spider. Got some there. I might have to get a new napkin, and we shall see. So when I Mod Podge, I'm pulling down the top, and then I'm adding in this little bit of piece here. Okay, so I'm pulling down and sealing in the top, and then get some more, and I'm going to layer in this. I'm going to turn upside down. Nope, I'm going to keep it up top. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going around. The base coat, and underneath, and we get this brighter. I don't mind if there's some little white spots because we're going to come back in here. I'm going to show you how we're going to grunge this up with some paint. Okay. Again, I'm just flattening down the edge from the front. Oops. And filling in with these little bitty pieces. It really amazes me how napkins have become such works of art these days. Kind of incredible, isn't it? Got another one of these spiders, and I'm going to put him just up in the middle again. As you go, be careful, because if you're a messy crafter like me, your hands are going to start to get sticky. And when your hands get sticky, you're going to be putting them on the napkin and then pulling them up. So you want to be careful as you go along. Oops. That was just a little scrap piece I had there. Put something on there. And we're just going to keep going. Now this one is one of the books, but overall it's too black of a piece, so I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm just going to grab a little bit of it and put a little section. If you keep your Mod Podge and your paint in a squeeze bottle, be careful you don't start Mod Podging with white paint, because that'll really mess up your design. So I've used up all the scraps. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut a little bit more of this off of this one, so we can keep going around the whole edge of our box. And then I'm going to get out my dryer, I think. Okay. And I want to tear it. I'm not going to try and put down a whole piece like that all at once. You can Mod Podge on canvas. You can Mod Podge on glass, wood, material, pretty much anything. I like to Mod Podge on mason jars, but I like to craft with mason jars in general. A lot of projects that I will do with mason jars. I think I'm doing one or two in this whole 31 days series as well. Got a really cool one coming up for you guys this week with mason jars. And then I think one towards the end of the month. I just need one more little piece for the edge here. Put it along. Put that on there. And there we go. The trick is to have a nice soft brush and to be gentle, especially when working with napkins, because they are so easy to rip. Okay. So there is our lid. Here is our box, and I'm going to get my dryer. This is this pack of 24 napkins from the $1.25 tree. I pretty much used one, not even a half a napkin. Here's the other 2 squares. And then some of these bits and pieces of the papers that I created on my jelly plate. I'm going to show you guys how to do this on another video. This is my favorite one that I created. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'll find something. When I separated my napkin, I'm going to keep this other ply because I might make some paper out of that as well. And I just want to dry all the edges because I'm going to come back in with a little bit of paint. You can use a paint pen, a little bit of paint, ink if you do stamping and you have the ink pad. And I'm mostly drying it. I don't mind painting over the Mod Podge. I'm mostly drying it because I want to come back with my sanding block. And I feel like the sanding block works better when it's more dry. Okay. And so this is what it originally looked like. And this is what we have now. And I've been on here all of about a half an hour. What a transformation, huh? Love it. Love it. Mod Podging is new for me. I joined a membership with my friend Royce from Upcycle Papers. And she makes beautiful, beautiful papers for crafting. And she's an amazing artist and creator. And I joined her creative membership. And I have become addicted to Mod Podge and collage and making papers. So here we are. Anyway, all right, let me turn this around. I have out some white paint. I have out a little bit of black paint. I am going to get one of my pouncing brushes. And you can paint the inside of the box too if you want. I may or may not do that. We shall see. We'll use this one. Oh wait, let me do my sand and block first. Make sure I get all my edges off. If you don't get these edges off, they might end up catching and working their way and pulling off at some point. So that's why even if they're little and they're not in the way, I'm going to get them all off. Okay. That gave us a good guys. And then up here. You just want to be gentle. I mean, this is a inexpensive cardboard, practically paper box. So as you're sanding it, you're going to be sanding the box as well. So you want to be careful with that. I'm just pulling down, going all the way around. And now I can hold on to it tight because I dried it. And I'm basically making like a perforation. It's not totally ripping off. It's getting a little perforated, and I'm coming back with my nail and ripping it off. All right. And then we can do the same thing on the bottom. I could get stencil and stencil over this now with some bright white. There's so many things you could do with this. Let me do that. I'm going to get my pouncer brush. I'm going to pounce it completely in white. I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of black. I'm going to pounce that in too, make a little bit of a gray. And now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pounce around this whole edge because my napkin on the two sides and the bottom didn't completely cover. So now I'm lightly pouncing in here with some gray on this pouncer brush. It's called a scruffy brush. And now you can even see. I'm going to do the same thing around the edge because where there was white spots and I didn't completely fill in, I'm just pouncing in here and making it a more uniform look. All the spots that were a little bit white, where I didn't totally cover because I was just using scraps, I'm now pouncing in. And you can use a paintbrush for this. The same way I'm using this pouncer, you can use a paintbrush and pounce it in. That part got a little dark, so I just wiped it off and come back. Okay, so we did around our edges, and I'm going to go now to my box up here where I said there's going to be white, but we didn't care about that, and the lid will cover it anyway. But now I'm just pouncing in here with this paint. I could add a little bit of purple if I wanted to, just to bring up the purple in the box. And the paper we used. So the bottom has some purple in it, and just by pouncing in some gray. But now that I bring in the purple, it looks more like it fits. And I'm not just pouncing in this band up here of white and gray and black. I'm still being pretty gentle with it. Oh, a little bit of purple. This is where I started. And if you want, you can be random in here too. just adding in some of this purple and white, not too much. And I think that's good. I think I like it. I think I like it. I love it. Okay, so let me turn you guys around. And here we go. So here is the bottom of our box. The paint is a little wet, but I'm going to put the lid on anyway and show you guys. Here's our lid. Here's our box. I should let it dry a little bit more. But how cool is that? I should have taken, I'll use this because I should have taken a before and after picture. So I'll use this for the before and now this for the after. Isn't that cool? Thank you guys for joining me. I will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow for day 6 of 31 Days of Halloween. I am loving this series, you guys. On day 1, I was like, oh no, what did I do? But now I'm on like day 5. I'm in a roll. I'm in a routine. And I am loving it. You can go back and watch the first 5 days. This was one day. I painted these wine glasses. This was another day with the jack-o'-lantern. My 3 witches was the first day. These guys all stand up. They're 12 inches tall. They all stand up on their own. So they are all on my YouTube channel. Feel free to hop over and subscribe if you're not already watching from there. And have a great day, everyone.